As one age falls, another rises, different to mortal sight, but to immortals only the same. For we see the same characters repeated again and again. The names or titles are altered by time, but the characters themselves forever remain unaltered. The origins of tarot are obscure and contradictory. Some scholars claim that tarot came out of ancient Egypt. Others claim it came from 10th century China. And there are possible Hebraic, Islamic, and Indian sources of origin as well. This is perfectly apt, for the symbols found in tarot come from a universal reservoir from which all cultures partake. Scholars have placed the arrival of tarot from the East to the Western world at about the middle of the 14th century, at the end of the Middle Ages and on the cusp of the Renaissance. Beyond this, the origin of tarot is speculative. Take the name itself. The advocates for Egyptian origin say tarot derives from the ancient Egyptian words ter and ro, meaning the royal road. Indian advocates point to Teru, the Hindu word for cards, and Torah, the Aryan Great Mother Goddess. Hebrew advocates claim Torah, the first 5 books of the Old Testament, as the root word. But tarot could just as likely derive from more mundane origins. Perhaps it comes from the Taro River in northern Italy, one of the areas where the cards first appeared. Or perhaps it comes from the French word tar, or the small dot border on the older cards. The history of the cards is equally rich. China advocates claim that tarot cards came from the emperor's 10th century court, not long after the invention of paper and the first paper money. Cards and money in the form of gambling are still intimately connected. In India, ancient Hindu cards had suits conforming to the various incarnations of the god Vishnu. These images were used to teach people about deeper truths and embody certain soul qualities still evident today in the major arcana figures. Likewise, the cards of the gypsy gambling game Pharaoh share similarities with the tarot. For instance, kings were painted on Pharaoh playing cards. The name Pharaoh probably derives from the Egyptian word for king, Pharaoh. But it is unknown whether the game itself is Egyptian. It is interesting to note that the name gypsy is a short form of Egyptian. But in truth, these travelers passing through in caravans came from India, not Egypt, and probably brought with them the Hindu cards. Since card decks were already in Europe when they arrived in the 15th century, it is likely that the gypsies combined decks, adapting the playing cards they found to their own uses, and giving the cards a reputation as fortune-telling devices. The earliest tarot cards appearing in the West brought with them one of the basic tenets of tarot, that God and knowledge are to be discovered within the self, and so were immediately denounced by the medieval Catholic Church, particularly the cards of the major arcana, which seemed to challenge the Church's authority. In 1378, tarot was banned in Germany. In 1381, it was condemned in Marseille. And in 1423, Saint Bernardino of Siena censured the cards. To the medieval Church, which failed to understand its meaning, tarot didn't come from Egypt, India, China, or Persia. It came from the devil, and was known as the Devil's Book. Despite, or perhaps because of such opposition, the tarot has survived to the present day. It is the more interpretive decks, like the Enchanted Tarot, that renew the card's value for each generation. The tarot deck is a book in the sense that it is a collection of pages or leaves, an unbound collection which can be arranged in any order. After the great collections of esoteric knowledge were broken up by the sackings of Alexandria and Constantinople, aspects of Gnostic, Kabbalistic, and mystical thought found their way into the book of the tarot. a book which speaks to its reader in the language of symbols and allegory. To the gypsies, tarot was the Bible of Bibles. To Egyptologists, it's the descendant of the Book of Thoth, or the Book of the Living. To other esoteric disciplines that have embraced tarot, the Rosicrucian, the Sufi, it points to the holy ideas within their traditions. Whatever the user's beliefs, one must approach the tarot as a book for meditation. The pages of the book are read in the order that they are selected, and each reading of the cards suggests a different spiritual allegory. On another level, tarot is a mirror, in the sense that it's the external reflection of internal psychological, emotional, or dream states. During the interval of the reading, the tarot mirrors your state of mind. If it is true, as modern chaos theory states, that life is a holographic experience, then what can be found in the selected cards reflects what's inside the user. It is connected to the state of your emotional life at that particular moment. One student of the tarot, the philosopher P.D. Ouspensky, likened it to a philosophical machine of which one can ask questions and pursue answers. The meaningful interactivity takes place within the user. In this computerized version of the Enchanted Tarot, this analogy is particularly apt. The Enchanted Tarot brings the hidden meanings to life and restores to us a whole realm of knowledge that, because it continues to be misunderstood, could well have been lost to us.